Hi, welcome to the Chesapeake Biological Laboratory's Next Generation Student Interview Series. I'm Sarah Brzezinski, the Outreach Coordinator at the Chesapeake Biological Laboratory. Together, we'll be meeting some of the Chesapeake Biological Laboratory's current graduate students and discovering a bit about who they are, what they're conducting their thesis research on, and why it's important. And we'll hope to also learn a little bit about some of their highlights as a student at the Chesapeake Biological Laboratory and where they hope that their careers will take them. Today, I'm joined by Amber Fandel. Hi, Amber.
Hi,
It's very nice to see you. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you today, Sarah?
I'm doing very well. So can you go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself? Where are you from?
Sure. For me, that's kind of a complicated question. I've lived all over the US, but I was born right outside Boston, Massachusetts, and I grew up in Grand Junction, Colorado.
And what are you researching at the Chesapeake Biological Laboratory?
So I work on whale and dolphin acoustics. So we're using sound to better understand whale and dolphin behavior. And one of our big focuses is on the offshore wind energy area off the coast of Maryland.
Oh, that sounds pretty interesting. So why are you working in the offshore wind energy area?
Sure. Whales and dolphins are highly vocal species, so they use sound to communicate a lot. And like us, they are disturbed by loud sounds. So during the construction of that offshore wind energy area, there's going to be a lot of really loud noises. They're going to be putting giant pieces of metal into the seabed. It's very, very loud. So what we've been doing is collecting data before the installation to understand the behavior of these animals. And we'll also collect data during and after the construction period to see how they were affected.
That's great. So you'll be able to monitor any changes in behavior during and after the construction.
Precisely, yes.
And you're working with Dr. Helen Bailey, right?
That's correct, yes.
And what drew you to the Chesapeake Biological Laboratory and working with Dr. Bailey?
Well, the wonderful Dr. Bailey. I had read so many of her papers previously and heard such great things about her. So she was definitely one of the big draws for me. I also really love that the Chesapeake Biological Lab is such a small institution. We really get to know everyone and everyone's work, which is really exciting. But really just the caliber of Dr. Bailey and her work. And before I was a graduate student, I was there for several years working with her. So big fan.
That's great. So you had that, that connection of having been an employee before you became a student. What project were you working on with her then?
So it was an extension of the same project. So we've been working with the Maryland wind energy area for, gosh, I think this is our 6th year now. And unfortunately, nothing's been built yet. So we're continuing to monitor as they kind of ramp up for the construction. But we've kind of expanded into some whale monitoring, and we're about to put out a real-time whale monitoring buoy, which will be very exciting.
That is exciting. What does a typical day look like for you as a researcher and as a student?
A lot of time at a computer, even before we lived our lives on Zoom. The Chesapeake Biological Lab offers courses online to students that, I guess the MEES program offers classes to students everywhere they are. So we're largely virtual, even in non-COVID times. So attending some interesting classes with interesting professors. And then as far as work goes, a lot of acoustic and data analysis. So listening to and statistically analyzing the data that we've collected and are currently collecting.
And what's something about your research that you think would surprise most people?
Well, one of the projects that we've been working on lately is our signature whistle project. And these signature whistles are whistles that are used by bottlenose dolphins. and they kind of act as names for the dolphins. So we can actually use those individual whistles to figure out who is where and who's interacting with each other. So that's
That's
very exciting.
amazing.
Yeah,
That's absolutely amazing. So dolphins basically are naming themselves for other individuals to be able to understand who they are.
exactly, exactly. And it's been exciting. We've seen dolphins from offshore, where the wind energy area is going to be, all the way into the Chesapeake Bay.
Wow. Oh, that's fascinating.
Yeah.
Um, so do you often work with dolphins, or is your research collected in a different way?
So unfortunately, no. I've yet to see a Chesapeake Bay dolphin, which is really, that's the goal. All of our data is collected, excuse me, acoustically, and when we're not there. So it's great because we don't have to disturb the animals at all with boats or anything like that. Excuse me. But we have our acoustic recorders, our microphones, we just stick them down in the water and they just record as the dolphins go in and out.
And with Dr. Bailey's work and with your work, is there any citizen science associated with the things you do?
Oh, great question. Yes. So once we figured out a few years ago that the dolphins were coming into the Chesapeake Bay, which we totally discovered on accident, we were testing one of our instruments off the pier, and we got it back, looked at the data, and we found that there were dolphins. And we had no idea. So at that point, we started to stick our instrument out more regularly to try to understand when they were there. And we were able to develop a citizen science app. And this is an app called the Chesapeake Dolphin Watch. And you can download it on your phone and report any sightings within the bay of dolphins that you see. And you can log on there, see when people have seen them, where they are, and even see people's photos and videos. And we recently installed a new function where we're actually putting the sound files to those dolphins so you can actually hear them.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's been really fun.
Wow, that's great. And in terms of your experience as a student at the Chesapeake Biological Laboratory, is there any particular class that you've especially enjoyed?
I'm trying to think, there have been so many interesting courses. I'm currently in a fisheries management course, which I've really enjoyed, just kind of getting to know how that whole complicated process of stock analysis and uh, all of the thorny political and social and economic issues that are tied up in that.
Wow, that sounds like it's a really interdisciplinary approach to looking at biological resources.
Definitely, yeah.
And adding on to that, what do you think is one of the most important skills that you've learned as a student and a researcher?
So especially here, I think CBL has such a strong science communication component, and that's been really great to kind of hone those skills and make sure that we're communicating our science to the broader audience.
Here's a bit of a backstory question. What were you interested in doing for a career when you were a kid, when you were 10 years old? What did you want to be?
So I'm afraid my answer is not that interesting. I've always wanted to be a whale and dolphin researcher, probably since I was about 10. I remember when I was in kindergarten, I wanted to be a teacher, Olympic athlete, and I don't remember something else, but I had high hopes.
That's amazing, though. So you've actually been able to turn a childhood passion into a real career.
I have, yeah. It's been a lot of work. I'm a little bit older than some of the normal grad students, but it's been a dream come true.
That's amazing. And what advice would you give a child who's interested in pursuing a career like yours, who's interested in either science, technology, engineering, and math, or STEM careers, or in working in the field of dolphin and whale biology?
Well, I will say that this this career is very competitive, right? It's such a cool career to be able to work with whales and dolphins. And if you're really passionate about it, I encourage you to go for it. But just know that it's a bit of a long road. Totally worth it, but a bit of a long road. And I would say, as far as in school, make sure that you take all the math that you can, and don't forget to take a statistics course. So important. And make sure you take advantage of all of the internship opportunities that you can.
And about how much education goes into having a career conducting scientific research related to whales and dolphins?
Sure. So when I started here, I just had a bachelor's degree. I will say that I took some certification courses and things like that to give me some more knowledge, especially practical knowledge about the field. But I just had a bachelor's degree when I started, and have only just recently entered the master's program. So.
And what do you hope to do after you graduate from the Chesapeake Biological Laboratory?
Yeah, so my time here has been really interesting and opened my eyes, especially working with the wind energy area, to a lot of the policy involved in marine management. And so I think that I want to use this as a springboard into environmental policy. So that's what I hope to pursue after I get my degree here.
And in 10 years down the road, in an ideal world, where would you be and what would you be doing?
So I hope to be a consultant or a lobbyist for a non-governmental organization that works on environmental policy, something like World Wildlife Foundation or Oceana or something like that.
That would definitely be a cool and impactful career.
Exactly. That's the hope, is that we make some impact. Yeah.
That's wonderful. It's always nice to see research being applied.
Exactly. The research is always so exciting. You know, you're finding out new things and discovering, and you're really on that front edge. But I found myself being really interested in how we protect those resources and how we, make them available to and benefit everyone.
That's great. It sounds like you're really, planning things out so that you can pursue a career that you have a passion for.
That's the hope. Yeah. And it's been such a privilege to be able to do that at CBL.
That's wonderful. Amber, it's been so nice talking to you. Thank you so much for taking the time today.
Thank you, Sarah.
All right. Have a nice day. Bye.
Bye.